Hello, folks. We will wait for another couple of minutes and we start. And also, if you're able to add the names of your organization, it'll be great. Hello, welcome. We will start in we'll start in another minute or so. If you're able to rename your Zoom name to also include your org name, will be super helpful for us. Hello, Clipsy.
Hi Tejas, so nice to see you.
Yeah, long time no see. How are you doing?
Yes, yes, all good, all good.
Excellent. Hi, Don. Hi, Sunil. Hello, Sandeep. If you're able to also add your org name, please. Hello. Hi, Surbi.
This is the second video.
Start the session. Okay, thank you. Cool. So this is the agenda for today, and I'm hoping this is like it is a bit like I'm hoping we can also have some time for actually running the thing. But what is the evals? Why is it? Why? What is evals? Why you need them? What are the golden set of questions and answers? So we'll go a little bit deep dive on that, and then two of the benchmarks that we'll be speaking about, which we think are important and which we think non-profit should worry about, is cosine similarity and context precision. So we'll don't worry, we'll give a bit more information on that, and we'll make sure all of us are aware about what these are, and then how to interpret the results which we get for running the eval, and then resources for you to try this out. So we're hoping that we can run one eval today and then show you the steps to follow. And then if you have a golden set of questions, you can reach out to us and we can share you the resources which you can, which with which you can then run the eval itself. But before we go further ahead, I would also kind of like to get the sense of where we are at the present state. So I'm hoping this mentee should allow you to answer some questions. So I want to know, I mean, first thing I would like for us to also get a sense of the room, that, how many of us are able to go to the mentee. You should have the first questions like how many have we onboarded? Do we have any ongoing AI-enabled chatbot launched with our users? So that's the first question. Also like just to get a sense of our actual end users interacting with your AI chatbots. How many of us are out there like this? And if you're not comfortable sharing on the menu, you can also like let me know in the chat box. Yes, no. That's also something. Okay. So there's three orgs. I'll pause for another like maybe 5 seconds and then 10 seconds and then I'll go to the next one. Um, so I know that Sneha has a Sneha organization has the thing, but apart from that, any other orgs, if you would like to share if you have voted yes for this one, maybe just a little bit context about what does your AI-enabled chatbot do for the end users, apart from Sneha, apart from Oregana folks representing Sneha. If you have tried this out, just for the benefit of other folks who are present here. Okay. So equal numbers of folks who have not yet tried, which is okay. It's good information to be aware of before you start. Uh, um, okay. Also going to the next bit, quickly, like how are you making sure that the responses shared by the AI are up to the mark? So also at this point, I would also like to open it up for the folks who are present here, maybe for like 15 seconds. Um, what does your common sense, or how do you at present make sure that the responses are shared by AI up to the mark? Keen to get a few thoughts. Maybe someone who has shared like video analysis of few samples which are done periodically. So if you'd like to share what kind of analysis, how periodic is the thing, what have you found out so far? If there's any thoughts you might want to share before we go ahead, just to get like a sense of where we are before you go ahead. Okay. No worries. So, it was interesting, and thank you for sharing. So half of us have not yet launched, but half of us have launched it. Um, this is essentially like, as you said, like some of us, those who have launched it, we are at a stage where we probably look at the answers, do like a vibe check of a spot, and like like we pick out like out of all the answers that we have, or the all the question and answer, we probably like pick out a few. We do a vibe check. We'd probably do like pass or fail. This pass or fail could be very subjective depending on how I think of the answers versus how my teammates think about whether the answer is up to the mark or no. Or maybe we do some sort of a rating from 1 to 5, saying okay, one was useful, five was not useful, like sorry, one was not useful, five was useful, or any other metric along those lines. But again, this is subjective. It could vary from one person to another, and also it will take a lot of effort. If we have to, if you make any small change in the prompt, or if we add to the knowledge base, if we change the model that is going to use. So like recently OpenAI released GPT-5, and if some of you are using GPT-4o in your chatbots, and now you want to switch the model, so before you release the model, before you make the change and you have the your beneficiaries interacting with your chatbot, you'd want to make sure that at least the any change in model does not adversely impact the way it's answering. So that is one of the main reasons why we need to figure out like a slightly better way to run the evals. And yeah, and the second bit is, if you make any change in the prompt, any change in the knowledge base, if you add more information, increase the area, increase the coverage, or like the domain where the AI is answering from. So all of these will impact the way, even in minor senses, impacts the way responses are generated. So in order to for you to be fully sure about what are the implications of any changes you make, and before you then release it to the audience, for you to get a sense of how well it is performing. So that is the major reason why it's important, and it's good to have it as a part of your process before we do this thing. Again, so here are the two major benchmarks is that we'll be using for our non context for the developmental organizations. So there are lots of benchmarks out there, whether it's coding, whether it's grammar, whether it's multilingual. There are lots and lots of, like, there's a whole universe of testing AI models and benchmarking it, and then pitting models against one another. But really, what we want to determine is whatever you have built. is your product, which has your knowledge base, your prompt, is it going to be useful for for the beneficiaries that are going to interact with them. So with that as the main objective, what we have and this is with the help of some other partners that we have borrowed from, but the idea is, if we are able to understand two basic things about the answers that are getting generated. Number one, how close is the answer, AI answer, to the ideal answer? By ideal answer, we mean what your team member would answer for that exact same question asked by the beneficiary. So how close is the AI's answer to that ideal answer? So that's like first benchmark. We'll try to determine how close is that answer. And second is the answer, AI answer, picked from the knowledge base that you have shared it, which means to say, like, it's not cooked up on its own. It is whatever the AI is answering, it has some references back into the it has paragraphs, or it has the information has been picked from the knowledge base that you have provided it. So that way, essentially the first one helps you to figure out how close is it to the actual answer you might give. Second one is it makes sure that there is less hallucinations into like the chances of hallucinating, like answers that are hallucinated and sound like it is from the knowledge base versus exactly from ensuring that it's picked from the knowledge base. It could be paraphrased, but it has to be there is some like there is some like like some way for you to make sure that it's grounded into the knowledge base. So those are the two major benchmarks that will be that we think is, there are lots more other ones, but these two are the ones that will help us to figure out whether the answer is getting whether the answer is useful for our context, yes or no. I'll pause here for a minute and take if there's any questions. S- If there's no questions, you can also like use the chat box and let me know no questions, and then I can move ahead. But I'll pause for 10 seconds to before I go ahead. So, I mean, just to give the other terms, how close is the answer is cosine similarity. How is the answer picked from knowledge base? That is what we will refer to as context precision. Okay. Okay. So if there's no questions, then I'll quickly go ahead. So for most orgs who are using Glyphic, um, what we have already is you have created an assistant on the Glyphic platform, which is nothing but yeah, we have created an assistant which is nothing but you have provided it your knowledge base, so it has some files that you have provided it. And second is you have given it a system prompt, so which is nothing but instructions which define the context, which define the role for the AI, which define the instructions it has to follow and while answering, and it has some examples. So this is what we already have. What we need, and once you have this and your users are start to interact with the chatbot, what you get through the conversations through your WhatsApp bot is all the user generated questions and the AI responses this assistant has given to those users. So this is typically what we'll have, and then there is some way for you to run, like your users, the question and answer is what your team members will look at and try to spot what can be improved or if there's anything that's going off, and we hope that you have done some sort of analysis before you actually send it to the users. But as you start increasing your like area, or like increasing the scope of knowledge and the scale of folks who are interacting with the chatbot, it also becomes important to run this in an automated way so that before you make changes, you are aware of how the AI is going to behave once you make any changes. So for running the eval, what we need is, apart from knowledge base and prompt, we also need something called as golden set of questions and answers. So this is something which we'll dive into later. And what we get as output is cosine similarity and context relevance. So these are two, you can think of it as numbers, that ranges from 0 to 1. It gives an indication about, so in the first one, cosine similarity, it gives an indication about how far or close to the ideal answer is the AI generated answer. And context relevance is, if you get like value closer to 0, that means there is maybe there maybe some of like, one indicates like no hallucination. Most of it is picked from the all of it is picked from the knowledge base. So that those are the two metrics we'll get. And essentially, when we see these when we see these results, it is a way for us to figure out if the context relevance is getting lower and lower, then maybe it's an indication about like, okay, maybe we should think about increasing the scope of knowledge base, or maybe we need to put better guardrails for the AI to not answer those specific questions. So that is how you can kind of tweak. If you see cosine similarity going very, very like tending down, maybe there's an indication for you to think that, okay, we need to change the prompt. We need to prompt the AI so that it is matching the way the ideal answers are going to come. So those are some ways where you can tweak and play around with this thing. Yes, Arohi.
Uh, Tejas, is it context relevance or context precision?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad.
Because retrieving, yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, like, sorry. Here the yeah, my bad. Good catch. Sorry. Yeah, it's context. I mean, again, like context, like some people may refer to it context precision, some people may refer to it as context relevance. Depends on which library is being used. So,
Sure, I think
uh,
there's a very slight difference between the two.
slight difference
But when
depends
we are
on
talking
different.
about retrieving information from the database, I think it is precision, to my understanding. I may be wrong.
No, no, you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah. The
Also,
range is,
Tejas,
yeah.
sorry, complete what
Hmm.
you're saying. Uh,
Uh,
this 0
Go
to
ahead. Go ahead.
1, I find that there are two extreme ranges, whereas in our experience, we've looked at ranges which are moderate, falling in between the 0 to 1 continuum. So,
Yeah. So again, like, so it is not either 0 or 1. It will be from 0 to 1. So like, if it's closer to 0, then it's like, there's no like you'll, yeah, like it will be somewhere between 0 to 1. And what we have to do, I mean, like, we have to set like a threshold value beyond which we say either it's a pass or a fail. So like that's yeah, you're right, Clipsy, you're right. So it won't be either 0 or 1. It'll be in like, yeah, it'll be anywhere between 0 to 1.
yeah, and I
You're
would
right.
like to give a reference because, say,
Hmm,
supposing
hmm,
you're talking about context precision,
hmm, hmm.
although the answer is paraphrased, but the technicalities of that answer are very close, although it may not mirror the knowledge base. I want to give a concrete example to that.
Okay, go ahead.
That is the example. Although the
Got it.
answer may not be mirroring the answer that
Correct,
the
correct,
program teams would give, but the essence of that answer would be appropriate.
correct,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, thank you all for sharing in. So, yeah, the main one of the important things about golden. So, like now we're kind of going into like how to get started. Since we already have knowledge base in prompt, and what we need further to go ahead is the golden set of questions. Actually, there is so golden set of questions. Like we'd like to speak a little bit about that and what you can do to make sure that you have covered a lot of it. So these are questions that your end user is likely going to ask. So it's good to have then there should be ideal answers to these questions which have to be drafted by your team. So like, what are the ideal most ideal answers, like the best way to respond to those questions. And then your question should cover ideally 4 types of questions should also, like be part of your golden set. So one is knowledge, implementation, personalization, and stress test. What we mean by this is there are some questions which will just check assistant's grasp of the reference material that has been shared. So these are like, like just questions which is just about the knowledge. Then there are implementation questions, questions that test whether bot can translate the knowledge into actionable steps. Knowledge is just like, okay, what is the fact? Then implementation, how do I use this? How do I use this? How do I use this for a certain application? Then third question should also like, so the golden set should also have questions about personalizations. That means which require the AI to tailor the answer to a specific user's preferences. And so, for example, if in case of in case of, let's say, for a education example, it is possible that you might say that this learner is 10 years old only, versus a learner who's asking of for a 15 years old, or someone who is a 21-year-old. So tailor the answer to those personalized needs. So like asking the same question but sharing that, okay, this learner was a 10-year-old. So some way of figuring out, like some way of including personalization, questions that also indicate personalization for the AI. And then lastly is the stress test, which is like you have to be also include tricky or like extreme questions meant to expose safety or ethical issues, or ask questions which actually activate the guardrails of the AI, and not and ensure that the AI doesn't answer those questions, for example. So majority of the times maybe we'll just cover knowledge or implementation question, or knowledge or stress test questions, but not enough of all of this thing. So once we are um, yeah. So that's essentially what one thing to be aware of the golden set. And then yes, the question about like what is the most appropriate number of golden set of questions. Um, Ideally, we have to think of golden set as the more is better, and from it should actually cover all of the aspects. Like that means we have to think about like just having thousand, like like out of 9,000 questions, let's say, having just like maybe 100 or 200 questions, or like 300 questions, just but all of this are from knowledge or implementation perspective, and not from a stress test, or like stress set is smaller. So that may not be the best way to go about it. But idea is like the more is better. As you have more and more folks interacting with your chatbot, then you should try to increase, like get more and more questions. And it should ideally cover all these topics, right? Like it should have cover all these topics. So that's the bit about golden set. And before we go ahead, like that is the major call to action from us, from this level up, that if you do not have if you have not yet started, if you are already chatting with if your users are already chatting with your AI chatbots, if you do not have golden set of questions and answers, then please start to think about, at least start by putting together 20. Put 20, try to cover all these aspects, share it with us, and we can try to help you to run these evals and seeing how the AI is performing for you. So, so that's our major call to action. Not just, and try to think about covering as the and all the 4 aspects. So with that being said, let's quickly go ahead. Yeah, but again, I'll pause here if there's any other questions on golden set.
Teachers, I just have a small question on this. Like the
Yeah.
golden set of questions which you're telling, those has to be used in the prompt or uh, in the knowledge base.
No. So, essentially, no, these don't have to be used anywhere. So, prompt and knowledge base are different. This is all you need to create an assistant, prompt and
Okay.
knowledge base. In
Yeah.
order to test, like run the model evaluation, uh, and get these two outputs. or what you need extra is a golden set of questions, and the golden set of questions is going to help you to these are nothing but questions that your users are likely asked or or asking
Okay.
already.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'll oh, 1 second. Okay. So, yeah, just, I mean, feel free to ask any if you have any further questions also. But yeah, so what we get from, so again, like, so going back to the thing, so once we have the knowledge base prompt, this already you have, then you have the golden set of questions, and you have a enough like a diverse set covering all four aspects. We can run the eval. There are multiple ways to run the eval. There are lots of different libraries you can use. You can write your own code. You can, it's possible. Like, so there are like lots and lots and lots of ways to do this thing. What we have tried to do and what we'll share you the resources for is we have put together a Google Colab notebook. We will, and so using a Google Sheet, which will have your golden set of questions, plus your prompt and the knowledge base. Uh, so we'll give you a Google Sheet and a note and a collab notebook, and so that by following the steps, you're able to do this yourself and get these two outputs. But again, before I go into that, I also want to just quickly make all of us very, very familiar with cosine similarity as well. So the two things that we are going to get. So cosine similarity is, like I said, what is the closest to the AI. So like now we have this. So what I want you to unmute and share is, so we have this thing. Which of these answers are similar to each other? Sorry, which are the answers similar to the ideal answer that I have put out over here? As you can see, the question is what is Glyphic? Ideal answer is Glyphic is a platform that enables nonprofits to communicate with their communities through WhatsApp. So out of this text one, text two, text three, which are similar to the ideal answer? You can use the chat box and type one, two, or three, or you can, yeah, um, or you can unmute and share, folks. Would anyone like to take a shot? Okay, so Sunil and Taki are saying it's text two. So and then yeah, text two and text one both are pretty close, and but clearly text 3 is not, right? Text 3 is something which is like super far away. So what we may get, so essentially, like, what might happen is, for as an output for this, you might get like a like a cosine similarity value of, let's say, like 0.7. This might also be 0.65, whatever. So I'm just giving an example, like it could be anything, but this will be maybe like 0.02 or whatever, like that. So just from the number, we have to infer that, like, okay, the ideas mentioned in both these things are sounding very, very similar. So that's what cosine similarity does. It just compares all the words in this answer to the AI generated answer, and it tries to give a score about how similar the two answers are. So that's we hope that this kind of helps you to get a better understanding of cosine similarity. When we get a number for cosine similarity, what does it actually mean? Okay, so next is context precision. Right. So like now imagine think of this on the right side as a knowledge base. So we are creating an AI assistant which has about Glyphic this paragraph as a knowledge base. And then we ask it this question, what is Glyphic? And then we get then we get these three responses, like it's a two-way communication platform for nonprofits. It's an open source communication for nonprofits, an app that lets help you discover food product. Which one do you think will have the lowest context precision in this case? Let me answer this. Which one will have the lowest context precision? I'm not asking the value because that is something which we probably cannot determine, but out of these three, there's like an intuition that tells us which one will have the lowest precision. Yeah, right. I mean, and this is sorry, I'm at the risk of oversimplifying it, but yeah, like this was the so as you can see, like for each of these, each of for each of these texts, like so two-way communication platform for non-profits. So this can be found two-way communication platform built for social impacts. So this can be found even open source communication platform for non-profits. This can be open source can be found over here. So most of so whatever can be found into the knowledge base. What happens in the background is something that I'm not kind of like going deep into, but the when we run like, imagine we just run we click a button and if we had to get a score what it checks is whether a given when we ask this question in order to generate the answer for this question, what are all the things that are picked from the knowledge base to generate an answer, and the final generated answer, does that have any correlation between so whatever is the generated answer this and whatever is the information that is first picked from the knowledge base, what is the similarity between those things? So that's what context precision actually checks. So again, like a higher value means less hallucination. That means closer to one is the thing. Sorry, this must be annoying. But yeah, this is what we need. So again, I'll pause here and like see if there's any questions, if there's anything that you might want to add, subtract, get clarity on.
Hi Tejas, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to know like how seriously these benchmarks need to be taken into consideration, because sometimes when we're evaluating responses, like there might be a case where like the answers are good, but then they might have a lower like cosine similarity or a context precision score, but overall it might make sense. So how do we really interpret these numbers, and how seriously should these numbers be taken into account?
Good question. Good question. Anyone else would like to share their thoughts on this one? I mean, I have a perspective. I'm also
Yeah.
curious if anyone else would like to share. But yeah, I mean, so you should, in my perspective, like these are for like running large, like once you have like a large set of users asking questions. So for you to pick up and, like share. But yeah, Gautam, you want to go ahead and share your perspective?
I think my perspective is these numbers are important. Whatever they indicate a mismatch. Mismatch can be for the good or for the bad, right? As in the answer could be way better than what you defined as ideal, or the answer could be way worse than what you define as ideal. It just gives you an idea to see how much effort you have to put in. I would use the numbers as a effort indicator to go and check where we are. If we are better, then I'll update the ideal answers with the better answer and then rerun the thing to see if it's matching. So then the scores will meet way more like you expect. Hope it.
Yeah. So anyone else? Sunil, right? Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, there are some things which, like human, how do you say, like, intelligence cannot, like, nothing can beat human intelligence at. So the way to look at this is once you have a certain like beyond a certain scale, when you can't really look at each answer, or when you can't even really like, or when you don't when you want to kind of like standardize in some way. So you run the thing, you see if what is the answer which are giving the highest mismatch, and see if the highest mismatch if that warrants any action. If it does not warrant any action, if you think that okay, like even though the cosine similarity is like it's coming on an average low, but the answers are going fairly well, let's especially for knowledge and implementation this thing, for stress test we are matching the thing, like it's not fully hallucinating, or it's not fully giving the wrong answers or like unsafe answers. So whatever helps you to get to those inferences in the fastest way is what we are trying to get at. But at the end of the day, the numbers should be just like a guidance, but I don't think no, so as you try it out, you will develop your own intuition about them, and then that's how we are hoping to use it. But yeah, like don't live and die by these numbers. That no would that's not what the aim of this thing would be.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so yeah, I mean, great question, and also open to see if there's any other questions from or any other experiences from having done this before. And yeah.
So, Tejas, I would like to come here.
Go ahead.
From a recent analysis that we did,
Hmm.
the users were asking incomplete questions
Hmm.
or audio notes which were vague. However, the chatbot picked up uh, one word from there and technically gave the appropriate answer. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
uh, hospital. So during the typo, it was spatial. So somebody
Hmm.
wanted
Hmm.
to type hospital but ended up typing spatial. Now my
Hmm. Hmm.
question here is, what is glyphic? And in your knowledge base, you said about glyphic. Who is Tejas? Um, what does Tejas do? Okay, so
Hmm.
uh, इम्यूनाइजेशन क्या है, टीकाकरण क्या है, और
Hmm.
टीकाकरण
Hmm.
क्यों करवाना है. So in my knowledge base, why टीकाकरण is important is the knowledge base, and the user is asking, um, टीकाकरण क्यों करवाना है. You understand
Hmm.
where I'm coming?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, so the question to you is, do you think that it has to be, um, the question has to mirror the knowledge base to be as close as possible to expect an answer? Uh, we are
Uh,
at this juncture now where we are trying to train our users to ask questions. Right now, we
hmm.
are in
Hmm.
control of the user group, but maybe later we may not be in control of the user group. It could be just some random users, in the
Correct.
community. So that is
Correct.
where I'm coming from.
So your question is, should the question be tailored better uh, to so that AI is able to generate the answer, right? Like
One,
your knowledge is
one,
yeah.
yes, one facet of that. Yes.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
But
So I
look at
mean,
situations where, yeah,
hmm.
look at situations where you'll not be able to train your users.
Correct, correct. No, no. So, like, I don't think the question should be tailored to the knowledge base. That shouldn't be the case. Like, so ideally, like like you have to be able to come. Like, I mean, the AI should be able to answer the again like what we have put out over here is like the questions which the end users are likely to ask. So in their own language, even if it means incomplete questions, so ideally we have to like so you can also include some of the questions which are like not fully formed question, which have typos in them, which have which are not grammatically the best representation of any of the languages that you are going to ask it in. So so the question should like represent how the user is going to ask those questions, not how
Right,
what is the easiest for AI to answer. And
right,
ideally that's how we're supposed to form the form the test. Now
right,
whether the AI will be able to handle or no, that's what we'll come to know from the test. But you should ideally not have to train the user to ask a better question.
right,
um
right, right. Makes sense. Thank you.
that is my intuition. Yeah, but yeah, again, this is again my perspective, so there could be different thoughts on this. Yes, Deep, go ahead.
Clipsy, and I mean, this is my perspective. If someone is asking incomplete questions and you are able to know that it is incomplete, maybe you should just tell the prompt saying, in case you are facing an incomplete question, ask them to clarify. So that way, they also start their habit starts getting developed to ask complete questions, and you will solve the problem at the source, not elsewhere. Hope this helps.
Correct, correct. So we did that. Again, that was where I'm again coming from. So we asked the team to allow the bot to probe. So, okay, you are in the 7 month of pregnancy or 8 month of pregnancy, or could you tell me what are your HB levels, and then I can help you more. So that is exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, but just
Okay.
just clarifying, in the case of golden questions, right? You might only want to ask that as part of the stress test, because the user will not be
Okay.
able to. You will just, in the case of a golden question, because you're stressing the system. In the real case, the user will give clarifications, 8th month, 7th month, whatever, right? In this case,
Yeah.
it won't.
Yeah.
So just use it to see
Okay.
how the system is responding. That's about it.
Okay.
As long as it
Okay.
says, "Can
Okay.
you please clarify how many months you are pregnant?"
Yeah.
That's the expected answer. That's good.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you, Clipsy, and Gautam. So we'll quickly go ahead.
Just before
Uh,
you proceed, Gulshan has a very good question in the. Uh,
oh,
I think that will be very important to answer now.
okay, great, great. Sorry, I missed that. Thank you, thank you. We can create golden set where we feed knowledge base to AI, but how to check accuracy for the case where AI cook results by its own and no knowledge base is provided. Um, so Gulshan, so the context precision should help you to identify those questions. If I understand it right, like how do we catch where AI is hallucinating, going beyond the scope of knowledge base, right? Where we feed knowledge base to AI.
Or
So
in the case where we don't have any knowledge base, we are just querying from internet. That could be a way to read.
yeah, do you want to unmute and share your question? I don't know if you have understood your question right.
Hi Tejas, hi Gautam. It is
Hello.
like ki as Gautam said, yeah. So it is like ki, as Gautam said, ki like we are just in the webhook we have called Chat GPT, and the user is just asking the question, and it is taking the responses from the like Chat GPT 4, and so now whatever he is responding, so how to check their accuracy kind of thing.
Correct, correct. Yeah, so essentially context, like, so a value, so the when we run the when we run this process, right? When we run the eval, this context precision का जो score आएगा, it comes from 0 to 0 to 1, anywhere between 0 to 1. That is an indicator of whether the answer is grounded into the knowledge, मतलब जो knowledge base से answer form हुआ है, या फिर or it's not, the answer which is generated is not, it does not have any truth ground in the knowledge base. So this context precision should, like a value of this should help you to understand, अगर इसका value higher है, that means there is high chances of this thing, high, yeah.
But we are not providing any knowledge base in this case, na. So how like it will compare? Like we haven't or we haven't shared the golden set of
So
questions. So
I
how
will
it will like?
I
Yes.
will try answering, Gulshanji. You have a golden set of questions, because without a golden set you cannot test if it is accurate or not, right? So question चाहिए, जब question है आपके पास एक ideal सवाल जवाब भी होगा, right? All you have is you do not have a knowledge base, so your cosine should be close. Your context precision will be close to indicating that there is hallucination, because there's no knowledge base it is comparing against. You're getting it from internet, right? But because you're getting the answer directly from the internet, as long as it matches the answer you're expecting and it has a high
Okay.
um, match to the ideal answer, that's good enough. But
Ideal,
just
correct.
remember, you will have the reality where the answer will keep changing, because every time it will pull from a different internet source. So
uh,
maybe might not be a good practice to do. Tejas?
Yeah, I mean, also like I don't know if the models actually pull from internet or they just answer from their own knowledge. So depending on which model you're using, just doing a bit of research key, when you use it in the assistant, does it answer from internet or this thing? Because yeah, that's something that, yeah. But so now I understood the question. Basically, it's, you're saying ki you don't have a knowledge base only in your assistant. You just have a prompt. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. In that
So
case,
it
context
still
switch.
it still Yeah, still
Yeah.
we will be supplying the golden set. Yeah,
Correct,
got
correct.
it.
So in that case, then it'll just then the only cosine similarity is the thing that you can check for. So there should be a question and there should be an ideal answer. And the ideal answer and hopefully the ideal answer then should be like something that and the question should have like questions that kind of probe and also ask unsafe questions or questions which are like where there is potential to create factual non-factual information if that's the thing. And then you can test like like when you ask it a wrong question matlab a tricky question, does it actually go on answering or does it stick to your prompt and it sticks to the does not answer the question or like sticks to the guardrails that you have provided. But those are the major checks then you should be able to perform.
Makes sense. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you so much for your questions, and I think they're all welcome. And to be honest, like we are also like evolving our understanding of this one. Just to give you a quick this thing, and I think after this I'll try to go into the actual hands-on, and then we can kind of like share you the steps. For you to get back. But then this is what we think this is what we our perception of it is at the moment, and it's evolving, to be honest. So like most of us are over here at present, where we have developed a prompt, we have a prompt, we have a knowledge base, we have the so and our when our users are interacting with it, right? Like our users are interacting with the chatbot. What we are expecting you after this session is also to generate a golden set of questions and answers, make sure that it's diverse. Based on that, conduct regular evaluations, figure out the interpret the results. Again, do not and live and die by the numbers, but like try to see if there is like what can we learn from the numbers? Is it matching? Is the numbers making sense? If not, where it's not making sense, and develop your own intuition about it. Based on that, refine the knowledge base or prompt if needed, expand the golden set, and then continuously, like as you expand, so kind of like follow this process. But all of us are over at some point of this, like like 1 2 and 3 of this stage. But we're hoping that in the next few months we can help nonprofits to kind of like move to these other results, and also like develop their intuition for how to interpret these numbers. um if there's any questions or if there any thoughts to share over here, I'll pause for a second. But what I want to share is all of this is taken really quickly. I can share with you. This is taken from agency funds, the impact evaluation framework. They detail this out at each level in like in this blog. So without going further into this, we'll share the blog as the resource. But this is the first part of what they called impact evaluation for AI products. So this is the first part of it. Just evaluating whether whether the AI product that you're trying to build, whether the model is it working the way you intend it to work. So that's what it is first evaluating. And so that just wanted to share that context. But now we'll quickly go to the we'll go over to just giving you a quick demo of how you could do this. So once you have, like, what we can do is we'll share with you a document. It will have these steps for you to replicate this thing. The first part of it will be a Google Sheet. So the Google Sheet will look something like this. It will have two tabs, config and goldens. In config, what you need to do is you need to paste in the instructions, you need to paste the system prompt that you have. So I'm just taking a example prompt over here, and I'm pasting it in this part. Instruction tag is like a v1 v2, so forget about that for now. And you can also like skip out the knowledge base. So we'll make sure that this one is easier for you to understand. But essentially, like, you have to just first step is paste the instructions in this one. And and then there is a second component to this thing. Oh yeah, in the Google Sheet, where is the golden set, where you're supposed to paste the golden set. So the golden set of questions and answers that you have come up with, paste them in this A and B section, so that and yeah, like essentially this should be there. And ideally, we would be great if you're also able to do, like categorize each of these questions and answer into, like whether it's a knowledge or whether it's an implementation based question or whether it's a personalization type of question or just stress test question, so that you have an idea of like, okay, how much, what's the breakup of the goldens that we have at the moment, where do we need to increase more, where do we, and where is the AI sort of failing to answer as per the mark. So those are the first two things that you need to do in the Google Sheet. Then second component of this is the collab notebook. So um, the collab notebook is going to look something like this. So we'll share a collab notebook. We'll share the steps in the guide itself, like how you can, what are all the things that you need to add into this collab notebook, and before, as you set it up and then you run it. But essentially, what we'll ask you to do is maybe only the spreadsheet name, you'll have to take from, like the spreadsheet that gets created. You take the name of this spreadsheet and you paste it somewhere in the collab notebook. That is one step that you'll have to do. And second is the vector store. So whatever AI assistant that you have created already, which is there in Glyphic, so you can just there is a way for you to get the vector store ID associated with it. We'll attach a screenshot of that as well, so you don't have to like worry too much about it. We'll share you where you have to paste those things. So you have to do like one setup in Google Sheet, and second setup of these variables in the collab notebook. Once you've done this thing, then all you have to do is run these cells. So like there are like essentially uh, these four cells over here. So dependencies and setup, test OpenAI API, results formatting, and run the reference-based metric evaluation. So you run the 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 one time to make sure that it's working well. And then when you run the 0 point, like cell number one, the results will start coming in this Google Sheet that you have. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this right now, and then we'll see some of the results. But before I go ahead, as I'm doing this, I'm also open to taking some questions if you have. So we'll share this with you post the call. But also we are hoping that like as a thing, if you come up with a golden set of questions and answers and then you reach out to us, then it will just help us to share this with you in a more direct way, and also work with you to also figure out and interpret the results, and like do that in a collaborative way, so that it's not, maybe it's not too overwhelming, or maybe we are also able to like learn and figure out what are the things that we can help you to improve. So that was the so the first cell got run, it took 34 seconds. Now run the second cell. um okay, this took another few seconds. I'll run this cell. This runs fast. And now I'm running the this cell. So this has the main code, which will show the which will create another tab over here, and it'll start running the eval. So as I do this, you should see a new tab form over here, and the eval should start running for each question one by one.
Tejas, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So this is testing the golden set of questions. That's fine. But do we need to, or is there a way to test the real questions from the users?
So golden
These are
set,
all, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So each question, you mean like,
Not
um,
each question, but if we randomly select some questions and answers and test, is there a way to test them? for these?
So that is what I mean, like that's the first step, right? Like that's what is creating the goldens, where you pick out golden set of questions, which the golden set is essentially users questions that you have picked out, which you know are either typical questions or edge case questions, whatever. So you pick out all these questions which you think it should run on, and then you run this. So you collate those questions and you have an ideal answer. So it's not just important that you have a random user question. There should also be an ideal answer for that random user question that you should have, and then you're able to run the eval.
So
I mean,
this set is this set generally prepared before running a pilot, before testing it with the real users? Or I was thinking this is made much before that, because we know the users well, and can do we do it before,
hmm.
the
Again,
prior to launch?
there could be different schools of thought. Um, but yeah, like like prior to launch, you obviously have like your team interacting with it. You have you try it out. Basically, you try to ask it all the different questions before you kind of like make sure that it's okay for the your end users to actually interact with it, right? That it's not unsafe. So basically you're doing the same process, uh, but not in this way. But again, if your question is that should you have this as a mandatory thing before you launch to the users, my personal perspective is no. You don't need to
Hmm.
have this thing to create before you launch it to the users, but you have to be able to test it thoroughly yourself. Like your team should have confidence and your team should have like asked it multiple questions in different ways. And they should feel that okay, this AI product is not actively going to spread misinformation and cause harm and spread wrong information to the beneficiaries that you're interacting with. It's not going to
Yeah.
be, yeah. So if you're able to determine
So
that, yeah,
hmm,
that would be enough for
hmm.
the pilot, I would say.
So for from our experience, what we realized is, you suggested to make golden set of questions, and it really helped, even for the internal testing as well. Because
Mm-hmm.
in during the internal testing, we realized that there were some questions which were out of scope, and then based on those responses, we built out of scope questions in the golden set of questions, and then when we tested it
Got it.
with the right guardrails, it helped. So it
Got it.
was
I mean,
helping us in putting the guardrails together.
correct, correct, correct.
But my
No,
question is, do we,
mhm,
like, once we have, if I have a golden set of questions
mhm.
beforehand, and then when I launch, uh, do we need to actually test the real questions as well from the users?
I mean, before launch, you can't have real users, right?
No,
So,
no, before, not before launch, after launch. So
I
we
mean,
have tested it with the golden set, and for now it's performing well. But we don't know. There may be some questions which
correct.
may be completely different.
Correct, correct. So that's the ideal situation where once you launch it with users, then you expand your golden set because that's when you kind of like get to get a sense of what the actual users are asking you also,
Right, right.
and then you have an
So
ideal
it's
answer for that. Correct, correct.
so it needs to be expanded, periodic reviews and expansion should be there in the golden
Ideally,
set.
ideally,
Okay, thank you.
ideally.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Just
Okay.
adding, I think every time you add a knowledge base, every time you add something to your knowledge base, you should be able to run this, right? And
Right.
periodically, like almost like make it like a periodic exercise, because in case there's an update on the OpenAI side, right, which might not be
Right.
visible to you, sometimes the answers will change, right? So it'll be good for you to have this from time to time. I am a big believer of adding most of the users' questions uh, in a like a stress scenario, right? Like if someone says, we once saw someone asking the question, Pradhan Mantri kaun hai, to a policy related knowledge base, right? So I think because it had old data, it gave the wrong Pradhan Mantri. So you should be able to kind of test if your stress is working and border cases are handled.
Right. Thank you, Gautam.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Cool. So it is going to take some time for this to run, but luckily, so essentially, this is what is the this is what you will start getting as output. So there's like a value for cosine similarity, there's a value for context precision, and then there is we have set the threshold as above 0.7 is considered as pass. So so it is calculating what is the pass rate, and and it's just calculating how much of it has happened right now. So once everything gets completed, this is what it looks like. So there's some conditional formatting, whether like once it's completed, it'll just make it green or red, so you're able to see. But let me quickly show you the two results. Like, so while this is there, I ran this one. This is the one which I ran where there was no prompt. Like, matlab prompt was fully empty. There's no system prompt. And this is the one which I ran where there was the actual prompt that the org wanted to use, that sorry, that was empty. And this is the one which I ran where the prompt was there. So as you can see, like this, the having the prompt shapes the way the AI answer is generated, and it impacts the cosine similarity. So you can see like there's a actually like a slight amount of difference in the way the threshold, like the answers, like how many answers actually were then similar to the actual answer that was supposed to be generated, but it didn't have not much difference on the context precision. But again, context precision, again, you should, again, like, we are not saying that, we are not prescribing that this is should live and die by the numbers. It should give you an idea about, like, okay, why is the number low, and if we need to change anything. If not, you can also, like, that it's completely also okay to ignore these numbers. So we ran this last week and we thought we'll share this with you. And we are also still trying to kind of figure this out and make sense of the numbers and help you out in a different way and in a more better way. So I'll pause here. If you have any questions, I can take those questions. I may not have the answers, but I can try to find out these answers. And that's our quest right now. And also our call to action, and also as we have 5 minutes over the time, my our biggest, like, call to action right now is, if you have not put together a golden set of questions, and if you have an AI product out there on your chatbot, and if it's out there, then at least start with putting 20 questions. If you have put together 20 questions, maybe share that with us, and we can either share you this document, and this helps you to kind of like run it by yourself. But if you're struggling with that, we can also like because as you can see, like, it doesn't take much to run this thing. So once we run it, we can also share you this thing. So then we are able to kind of like, then you have to worry more about just, say, interpreting the results, and then we can figure out what the results mean, what do we need to change on that, and we are open to collaborating more deeper along those lines. So that's the level up for this week, this month. I can I'm open to questions, but we are also towards the end. So as you have questions, you can let us know. I'm also like starting a feedback poll, so please share your feedback before you drop off. And if you have questions, I'm here till the end. And yeah, happy to take your questions, or if there are other ways to collaborate. Folks, if you can please fill the feedback form before you drop, that'll be super helpful. Rahul, Arun, Gypsy, Madhuri, I hope you're filling the feedback. Thank you. think we have a minute and a half more to fill the feedback. If you can fill the feedback, it'll be super helpful. And we'll close the session after that. Okay, last 30 seconds. After that, I'll close the poll. Okay, I'm closing the poll and the session. Thank you all.